Hey everybody, what's going on? Monday night. I know this is kind of like a random ass movie to pick, but what ended up happening, we were going to go to the theater this weekend and maybe see that werewolves movie, but then we just didn't have time, or we were too tired or whatever. And and we spent too much at the bar probably, so I was like, well, I don't really want to spend more like on the money because we drank a lot, but that's okay. But then I was like, I'm going on Shudder, and they had put Dead Calm on there from 1989. And I said, I remember kind of liking that movie. They used to show it on cable like all the time back in the early 90s. I feel like it was always on like HBO or Cinemax or whatever. Seen it. And Tom had never seen it. And I was like, well, let's just do this one because it's like I didn't really want to like look around. And I was kind of curious about rewatching it anyway. So,
it's a tight 90s flick, man. It's good.
Yeah, and it's technically late 80s.
It's kind of late 80s. Yeah, it's got fucking Nicole Kidman in it. Tom Cruise's ex. It's got Billy Zane in it. My ex-wife was infatuated with Billy Zane.
Yeah, Phantom remembers that because I was and it's funny because when I said Billy Zane is in this movie, and I said, it's your ex-wife's boyfriend.
Yeah, she was more into when he beefed up and had his hair really long, like in
Orlando.
Orlando, yeah,
like with Tilda Swinton, which we reviewed a while back.
Yeah, and he did a couple other movies where he kind of looked like that.
I liked him in Demon Knight. He was funny as shit in that. But here's the thing, like Billy Zane, he's so weird, like because. Like, to look at him, like, especially back in this era, like, he looks like the classic, Hollywood good looks, like, leading man kind of thing. But then he always plays these fucking weirdos.
He might have been weird in real life.
Yeah.
No telling.
He's good at playing weirdos, though, and he plays a weirdo in this one, too.
Yeah. Might have got known for that, and they got kind of, like, typecast.
He got typecast as, like, a fucking, he's the handsome weirdo.
Yeah, the movie's a pretty straightforward kind of like a survival adventure flick, survival horror kind of thing. I'd probably put it up there with like Duel, you know what I mean? Kind of, or what's the other one? It's kind of reminded me of. This reminded me of Duel, and it also reminded me of I think it's called Breakdown, the one with fucking Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah,
where he's trying to save his wife after she got where it's real linear, you know what I mean? Shit happens, and you got to try to fix it. And it's happening at sea. Yeah,
it's a very simple thriller.
Yeah, real simple, and it's happening at sea.
Which makes it like a lot scarier, in my opinion, because it's like there's nobody you can go to for help. Like you're out in the middle of the fucking ocean, you know.
And the premise is, it starts off real simple, just Nicole Kidman's character, and then what's that other guy's name? What's the guy?
Sam Neill.
Yeah, Sam. He was in all kinds of fucking movies back in this day, you know. These were pretty. They were pretty. High-paid actors, I think, at this time.
Well, now, Nicole Kidman, this was her first big role. She was only 22, I think, in this movie.
You can't really tell. She looks like she always does to me.
And this one, I mean, she'd been in, like, BMX Bandits and shit like that, like, when she was a kid.
Yeah.
But this was, like, her big breakout role. And the year after this, she was in Days of Thunder, which is where she met Tom Cruise, and then went on to like mega stardom.
Yeah, I remember.
But this was kind of her big like breakout role.
Yeah,
because this is an Australian movie; it's not an American movie.
Yeah, and it's about this couple. They're successful and shit, and they got this real nice boat. It's like a sailboat type boat
called the Saracen.
Yeah, and they're out there doing what fucking rich couples do: wine and dining, drinking, and fucking and shit out in the ocean. I guess. They don't really show them having sex, do they?
No.
And while they're out there, they saw this. They're way out in the damn ocean. They hear something hit the side of the boat, and they look, and a dude in a dinghy has hit the side of the boat. He's coming in.
Well, they see the boat first.
They see the boat, yeah, and they see a ship.
They see the guy.
He's come from a ship, yeah. And he's like running away from that ship, like something's after him. And he just, without saying a word, he runs down into their hold. You know, and finally he introduces himself. And he says that all the crew over there, he had all their passports and everything, that they all died of food poisoning.
Botulism.
But yeah, all in one day. And the dude didn't buy it. I wasn't buying it either. It don't sound right. So,
and I'm not even a sailor. As soon as he got on the boat, I'm just like, I don't think so, buddy.
They put him to bed in there. He started falling asleep like he was tired. They kind of locked him into his cabin. And old boy fucking takes the dinghy and rows back out to that boat.
Because he's like, this dude is sus as fuck. I'm going to go see what the deal is.
And guess what? A whole bunch of murdered people over there. All right. Fucking, they had a dead woman fucking floating, and you come up, you see her just cooch first, too, man. Fucking hair. What the fuck? They're showing us dead cooch all. And then it's
Dead Cooch, the movie.
Yeah, and the boat's all fucked up in the inside, water in it. It's taking on water. And guess what? Billy Zane breaks out of the damn room and fucking steals the boat with his wife on it.
Yep.
And he's on this fucking... The dinghy can't catch up with him because it's motorized, that sailboat.
Yeah, it's like a yacht, kind of.
It's like a yacht,
like a small yacht.
The rowboat couldn't catch up with him, and then the fucking... The ship that he's in is not seaworthy, really. It's taking on water. It can't move anywhere anyway. So it's kind of like he's got to save his wife, but his wife does most of the saving. She saves herself, too.
Well, yeah, because Sam Neill's, stuck over on the other ship, trying to get that shit going so he can chase them, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, he's trying to chase them. So that's kind of how the movie starts. It starts pretty quick.
Yeah, the thing about it, okay, so Zach mentioned this, because I was going to bring this up. This movie was based on a novel which came out in 1963, and Orson Welles had bought the rights to the novel and actually shot a great deal of footage for this, although his version was actually going to be called The Deep, which has nothing to do
Orson Welles,
which has nothing to do with because I know Peter Benchley wrote a novel called The Deep, and they made that into a movie with Jacqueline Bisset and everything like that, but it didn't have anything to do with that. So he was going to make a movie of it, and what I heard, they're not entirely sure. I've heard that he shot enough footage that it could be edited into a movie. But for whatever reason, funding fell through, blah-de-blah, and it never got finished. So finally, someone else came along and bought the rights. The dude that directed this is, like I said, an Australian film. Philip Noyce, he actually went on to do Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger, with Harrison Ford. Yeah. He also directed Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
And Sliver with what's her name?
Not a bad movie, but Blind Fury was a piss poor fucking Zatoichi ripoff. They just an American version.
It was yeah.
If you see the originals, they were fucking much better. But the movie on its own was just kind of mildly amusing.
Yeah, we reviewed Blind Fury a while back.
Yeah, it brought back memories seeing that one again.
Also, the dude that adapted the screenplay for this is the same guy that did the screenplay for The Road Warrior.
Okay.
So, like I said, and one of the producers on this was George fucking Miller.
Okay.
So this is an Australian a film as you can get.
Okay.
They even shot it in the Great Barrier Reef, and Zach was saying that he hadn't seen it, and he's like, I've heard I had to see it because the cinematography is really good. Honestly, they shot this at sea. It looks like. I mean, it looks real.
Yeah,
like I said, they shot it in the Great Barrier Reef, they said. And I can't imagine, because there's just great, distance. I guess they did them with, a helicopter or crane shots or something like that, where the two ships are, way far apart, and, the little dinghy is, in the middle. And it's just kind of, this vast, and then it's just, vast nothing. Of ocean, all around them. And I think it's really effective in conveying these three people are out here in the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean, and there's nothing, and they only have, themselves, to rely on, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so the thing, okay, now the movie actually opens up not at sea. The first thing that happens is that Sam Neill, who is a sailor, he's in the Navy or something like that, and he's coming home, presumably, on a train, with all the other sailors. And he comes out, and he's, looking around. And after a while, you figure out that he's, he's looking for his wife, and she's not there. And then, these two cops come up to him. And it turns out that his wife, her name is Ray, actually, her character, has been in a car accident, and their son, she's kind of fucked up, but the son has been killed. And there is a horrible and yet also darkly hilarious kind of sequence at the beginning where they show the car wreck and the kid fucking flies through the fucking windshield flying out through the windshield, and I was like, wow, they would not show that in an American film, I don't think.
Yeah, that looked cool though.
I know, and I was just kind of
we're going head first.
I know, I was like, I know it's terrible, but I kind of laughed. I was just kind of that's so awful, because that really does happen. But I'm not laughing if that happened in real life, but just in the movie.
The way they showed it.
The way they showed it, kind of made me laugh.
He's flying over,
like right out
through the windshield and over the fucking.
Because he got out of his car seat he dropped his teddy or something like that, and she didn't see it because it was raining and shit like that, and she was just like, "What are you doing?" And then like she ends up like hitting another car like head on.
Yeah.
And he ends up going flying through. So their son dying at the beginning is kind of like the impetus for them to go on this, however long. I think at the beginning of the movie, I think they say they've been on the sea for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So, but the thing about it though is the kid dying doesn't really play into the plot. It's not really brought up again or anything like that, so I thought that was kind of weird, like random. I guess it was just kind of gave them a reason for being out on this vacation because they're trying to like reconnect or they're trying to like get over the death or something like that. But I mean, I don't
reboot.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if that's like that in the book and if it played more into the plot like going forward. I just thought it was kind of odd that they didn't really like mention it again.
Yeah, it's a good flick. It's a very straight movie. There's no twists in it really, from what I saw.
That's not really. I mean, because the thing about it is that as soon as the two of them are out on this ship, and they've been out there for 3 weeks, and they seem to be, like, doing okay. Oh, and there's a dog in this, too, and I hate to tell you, but the dog does not make it. He dies in a pretty horrible way, so I'm just telling you that right now. And I was more upset about that than the kid dying, so say what you will about that. But yeah, so they're out there a while, and then they see the ship, and it looks like it's kind of fucked up. Like, it's kind of far away, but you can tell that it's not sinking, but you can tell that it's not seaworthy, that it's just kind of sitting there. So Sam Neill is like looking at it through the binoculars.
It's about 300 meters away.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, we should probably go and see what the deal with that is, because it's like, somebody might need help, and, it's the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean. But then they see the dude, Billy Zane, like coming in the his name is Huey, is actually his character's name. But he comes there in the dinghy, and then he tells them, and immediately that this dude is bad news. Like, they don't make any secret about it. It's not like a big twist or anything like that. As soon as he gets on there, he tells this story about, there was 6 other people. I think he said there were 6 other people on the ship. And it's just like, the ship, it's not going anywhere. The engine doesn't work, and it's filling up with water. It's sinking. And it's like there was 6 other people on the ship, and they all got food poisoning. And then he described it, and then Sam Neill is like, oh, that sounds like botulism, like from canned salmon or something like that. And it's like, yeah, they all died in one day, and I'm the only one left. And so he's kind of like freaking out. But like I said,
they had been dead for 10 days.
And that they had been dead for 10 days.
It didn't look like they had been dead for 10 days, though. When they showed him, it looked fresh.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think like nothing that he said.
Yeah, I think it was all bullshit.
Was true.
Yeah, and why was the woman nude?
Because, well, I think because Tom was like dozing off a little bit.
Yeah.
You missed the part where Sam Neill is on the ship and he got the engine going again and got the power back on.
Yeah.
And there was a videotape that one of the other dudes that was on the ship with him was taking.
Okay.
And it's not super straightforward, but you're led to believe that Billy Zane just like flipped the fuck out and just like killed everybody. Possibly raped them, not really sure.
Yeah.
So
what does that do with her being nude?
Well, I'm just saying that's why. I think that probably there was some rape involved.
All right.
Because some of them were dismembered.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Also, so yeah, like he flipped the fuck out.
Body parts are missing, and the chick was nude, floating in the water.
Yeah. So obviously, because like I said, they don't. I think what I've heard is that they go more into it in the book, like what caused his psychotic break. I guess they don't go into it much in the movie. Like he just shows up, and you're sure that there's something the matter with the dude, but you're not sure exactly what.
He jumps on the boat, just ignores the people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just runs past them like they're not even there, and goes down inside the boat like he's hiding from something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's real kind of cagey and sketchy and like, not aggressive necessarily, but weird. He's just weird. And so, I mean, Nicole.
He's hiding something.
Yeah, it's like Nicole Kidman is just kind of like, oh, the poor guy and everything like that. But Sam Neill's like, I don't trust this motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like, that ain't right.
But he's like, something's not right.
Something wrong with the story.
Yeah, which, like I said, it sounded pretty suspicious. So Sam Neill is like, okay, we're gonna.
Well, he didn't want them going to the boat. That's the thing.
Well, that was another thing too, because Sam Neill's like, well, I have to go like see. It's like, don't you have any stuff that you want me to recover or anything like that? He's like, no, you don't. And he's just like,
Didn't want to go back to the boat. So I'd immediately want to go look at the boat.
Well, so did he.
Yeah.
And the only thing, because at first Sam Neill was like, well, he was going to take, his boat, his yacht, which has an engine, over to the other boat. But because Billy Zane caused such a ruckus over it, he's like, oh, well, I'll just wait till he's asleep, and then I'll go in the dinghy that he came over so he won't hear anything and wake up and start flipping out. So that was where the trouble started, because then Sam Neill gets over onto this boat, which is fucked up, but not as bad. It's not sinking. Not yet, anyway. But it's kind of fucked up still. Like, it's taking on water, and the engine doesn't work, and the radio doesn't work, and all this other kind of shit. So he wasn't lying about that. He was just lying about how the people died.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So, and then the thing about it is that as soon as Sam Neill is gone, Billy Zane, who was pretending to be asleep, I'm assuming, wakes up, busts out of the fucking cabin, and takes off in the ship with the wife and the dog while Sam Neill is stuck on the boat.
Yeah.
And like I said, he doesn't really have, the radio isn't working either, so he doesn't really know what's going on. He can just kind of look out and be like, hey, where'd my boat go? Kind of thing. Now, I have to say, okay, so Nicole Kidman's character, she does nut up and like do a bunch of good shit. But I have to say, I think she made some kind of dumb decisions. First thing, before Sam Neill even leaves the boat, he says, get the gun out. Because it's a shotgun and it's behind them. You have to kind of like put it together. It's like in two pieces.
Shotgun.
Yeah, it's like in two pieces. And it wasn't loaded, obviously. So it's like you'd have to get it out and get ready. So he's like, well, get that out. And she's just like, nah, it'll be all right. And I'm just like, bitch, what?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a random ass dude on your ship. Yeah. And now you are by yourself on the ship with this random ass dude.
Yeah.
Get the gun.
Right.
Seriously. But she doesn't do that. So, when Sam Neill goes over there, and then... So as Billy Zane starts getting crazier and crazier, and I think you missed this part, and I had kind of remembered this. I remembered that Billy Zane had raped her, but it actually turns out that she kind of seduces him and like lets him have sex with her, so he thinks that, oh, it's all good now. It's fine that my husband's gone, so she can get one over on him. Because what she does is she does that to like establish trust, and then she drugs his ass.
Okay.
And then
so you think she pretended to be consensual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, because she basically, well, he kind of came up on her and was kind of like, and she's just like, yeah, cool, all right, mm-hmm. Like, and she's and she's acting like she's all into it,
right?
So that he would trust her. Yeah, what are we gonna do now? Like, we're gonna go on, because I guess she clocked onto the fact that this dude was like insane.
Yeah.
And he was also kind of like, if you said the wrong thing, like he would flip out, right? So she was trying to like mitigate, I guess. Mm-hmm. So she's like, probably the best way to go about this is to
have sex
with him, and then so he'll trust me. And then I can, because then she like drugs him, knocks him out, and goes up and gets the gun and all
she
this
gets
other
some
kind of
free dick.
And she gets free dick.
Yeah,
from Billy Zane.
Yeah, who's a lot younger than her husband.
Because yeah, that's the thing. Because Nicole Kidman, like I said, was I believe 22 when this movie came out, and Sam Neill was already in his 40s.
Yeah,
so. That wasn't. I mean, he still looks fairly young. Like in this, it doesn't look like he doesn't look like an old man or
Rich
anything like
dudes
that.
do that.
I know.
Yeah.
But so it didn't look that strange, but it was kind of. But I had forgotten how much she was just kind of like, and honestly, it didn't even take her that long to get to that point. She was just kind of like, okay, well,
she probably wanted that shit.
This is what I got to do.
She probably wanted that shit.
Although the second that she climbed off, or he climbed off, like she was like, I'm gonna go. She drugged his ass. You know what I mean? Like want some lemonade? He's like, okay. Because he's kind of stupid too, but you know what I mean. And then like she knocks him out, because that's the only thing is she had all those sedatives because she was going through the grief from her son dying. So that's kind of the only.
What's funny about Nicole Kidman, I think it's funny that she married Tom Cruise. It's that was kind of a weird fucking couple in a way. But what's funny about Nicole Kidman, because I think Nicole Kidman is very normal. I don't think Tom is that normal.
Well, no, not at all.
But Nicole was, for a pretty woman, very boring looking. I don't know what it was. She looked very fucking vanilla. Always. Maybe I think the best I've ever seen her look was probably in Moulin Rouge. She's kind of attractive then. But she was
Have we reviewed that movie? Because I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, she looked good in that.
We need to review that movie if we haven't.
Like I said,
I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, I guess a woman can be real pretty and generic.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think that
not sexy to me.
That you see that a lot, like because a lot of actresses, like especially kind of A-list ones and stuff like that, a lot of them kind of look alike. They're all like pretty, but they all kind of look the same.
Yeah, and her body was just thin.
And she's quite tall. I think she's 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, which that's like a funny match.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise probably 5'4", 5'5", 5'6", probably.
And there is nudity in this, although I don't think you see her from the front. I think you just see her from behind. And I think you see Billy Zane naked from behind too. But because there's a sex scene in this, but it's not, it's not super graphic.
Yeah, you would think a dude like Tom Cruise would want this really fucking like short, stocky little brick house. You know what I mean? Boobs and fucking ass and shit. But I guess he's not that kind of guy.
He's not that kind of guy.
He's not that kind of guy. He likes that Aqualine look.
Old Restless says, I wonder if she remembered the lay forever. They probably got divorced when they got to shore. Yeah, I always kind of wondered, like, after she goes through all that shit and, they finally kill the dude. Spoiler alert. I always kind of I was like, I would have loved to see like a coda or a sequel where she has to have the conversation.
Yeah, that what happened
with the husband. Yeah. Well, I had to have sex with him. I had to come rescue you, like you know what I mean? Because he wouldn't let her steer the boat.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he wouldn't let her go to the radio, and he would she would sneak off and do it, but she had to like drug him or tie him up or something like that.
She had to ply him with her body.
Right.
Like a shotgun, like her husband told you.
Yeah, which if you'd have done that to start with, you wouldn't have had to go through all that. Is all I'm saying.
You could have tossed his ass overboard. Nobody'd know anything.
Because that's what I said. I said, if that fucking dude came, I don't care if you look like Billy Zane. You come on the boat and start like the shenanigans like that, I'm punching your ass out and throwing you right overboard.
Especially leaving 5 or 6 dead people on the other boat.
Holy fucking shit. Yeah. I don't even care if you didn't. Yeah. You come on acting all sketchy like that, nope. Over you go, buddy. I'm not hanging around to like see how weird that action is. But the thing about it is, so he gets on there, and another thing that kind of made me mad too is that she fights him because she has the shotgun, and then he jumps on her and they're kind of wrestling, but he's kind of drugged, so he's kind of seeing double. So he kind of shoots at her, but he misses because he can't really see. And so after like he gets knocked out, like she ties him up. I was like, well, he's knocked out. Why don't you just fucking kill him, or like throw him to the sharks? You know what I mean? That's what I would have done. Don't leave him on the fucking boat. Yeah. And she hog-tied him, but she tied him in the front.
He got out of that.
So of course, like he just like broke some glass and like did that, like obviously. But the thing about it too is that then she loses the shotgun somehow, but then she has like the harpoon gun, right?
Yeah.
And then she's got him right there. He's like right in front of her. And she shoots him with the harpoon gun, but it goes in his shoulder. And then, like, he comes right up at her, and she's, like, right to his forehead. I'm like, shoot him! Yeah. Fucking shoot him!
Yeah.
But she doesn't. Yeah. And I don't know why. I was like, he was right there.
CB says that Tom Cruise likes ass. I'm going to disagree. Because Nicole Kidman doesn't have any ass. She just kind of straight up and down.
Well, she showed her ass in this one, and it was a pretty nice ass.
Was it big?
No, it wasn't a big ass. Yeah. It wasn't a big ass.
Yeah,
it was just a regular size ass.
Yeah, just regular
for the body type.
Right. If Tom was an ass man, she'd be fucking stacked. Yeah. Come on, he had the fame. He could get any woman he wanted. You know, shit.
Didn't he go out with what's her face, Penelope Cruz for a little while?
Penelope Cruz. I forgot who that is.
You know if you saw her, but I don't think it lasted that long. And then he was with Cady, what's her name?
Yeah, that's another little mousy one.
And then she got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, they had to be a Scientologist to go out with Tom.
They had a kid. They had a whole vetting process. Yeah, it was super weird.
You had to make it through Scientology fucking vetting. To get to him. That's funny, man. That's some weird shit.
But yeah, so I'm just saying that Nicole Kidman, as much as she triumphed in the end, because like I said, she didn't have, at some point, she was able to communicate with her husband. He kind of got the electricity going in the other ship, and he kind of got the engine going for a little while, but then it fucked up again because it started filling up with the water. Because, like I said, the boat was kind of fucked up, and he got the radio working, but he couldn't talk through it. Like she couldn't hear him, but he could like send like yes and no, like clicking. You know what I mean? Like in the static, so they could kind of communicate that way. But she didn't really have any help, and then he got fucking trapped in the fucking ship, and it was like filling up with water and shit like that, so he had his own fucking problems. You know what I mean? So she kind of had to deal with the shit by herself. So, you know, so I'm saying that it was good that she did that. I'm just saying that at multiple occasions, after he was drugged, for example, like he was out, like just roll his ass off the ship.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do. Roll his ass off the ship. Sharks will take care of the rest. Boom. Problem solved. But she didn't do that. She just tied him up and left him locked in a cabin. And of course he got out. So I think that, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not picking on it because a lot of thrillers do that. Where they have almost like a horror movie killer like Jason where he keeps getting back up again. Because the same thing happens too. Like she finally, like, gets him off, like shoves him off the boat. And she doesn't even like shove him in the ocean. She shoves him on the little life raft. Yeah. And it's just like, hey, good luck, buddy. Like, maybe she wants him to, like, suffer and die. I don't know. Like, of exposure. But I was like, well, don't do that because then he's just going to come back like a fucking horror movie villain. And that's exactly what happens. However, I'm not going to complain about it because this does lead to one of the best fucking deaths in any thriller ever.
And that wasn't CG.
It's so good.
That wasn't CG.
Yeah, this was 89. I don't know how they did it. It looked really good, though. But yeah, so I guess, like, they think he's dead. They find the raft, and, you know, he's not on it, so they assume, oh, he died or he fell off or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, no. If he's not on there, if you don't see a body, then, you know, he's popping back up. And then, like, the next day, like, he climbs back onto the boat, and Sam Neill is back on the ship at this point because she has rescued him from the sinking ship, and called the Orpheus. I forgot the other one was called the Orpheus. But, so she's there, and then Sam Neill is, like, behind the thing getting some food or something for her, and he looks like that, and he sees their shadows, like, through the sail, like, in him, like, strangling her or whatever, and he picks up a flare gun and goes, pow, and it just goes, blasts a hole through the sail, goes right in his mouth, and blows the back of his skull off.
Well, it burns it out.
Yeah, like, whoosh, and then, like, he just goes flying off the fucking ship.
And I just... the water with his head smoking.
Oh, I just cried. I was like, that was awesome. I was like, that's the best fucking... And I had forgotten about that. Because I've seen this before, but it was a long time ago. I was like, that's one of the best movie deaths I've ever seen.
I liked it, even though that could never happen. I fucking shot off a bunch of...
Well, no.
They were in pot... It was a pop
flare.
It's a movie. Pop flares are about, you know, a foot and a half long, maybe 3 inches in diameter, and they're kind of a metallic body on them with end caps. You pull one cap off, there's a string underneath, and you pull it. Use them in the Army all the time as a signal device. Star clusters and shit like that. And, it'll shoot a fucking flare out of there, but it won't penetrate anything. It would have hit, in reality, it would have hit that sail and just fucking bounced off. You know what I mean? It's not like a bullet.
Yeah.
The velocity's too low, and it's big. We just hit it and go boonk, fall back out. But it looked good on screen.
Yeah, it did look really good.
You can suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, for something that fucking epic, I was just kind of like, oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
It would have been better if the fucking you couldn't see, and then fucking the wind blows the sail, and then for a split second you could see, and he launched through there just right into his mouth. That would have been accurate.
Yeah.
But it couldn't go through that sail first.
No, but like I said, it's a movie. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it blasted the sail like right into his fucking mouth.
It went in, and he's good because his mouth was open, and it went right in there. And you can see it burn through his cheeks and out the back of his head. It was real, just only a second or so, you know. And he fucking.
It looked good though.
And he fucking flew off into the water.
Like I said, I'm not
fell
sure
off
how
the
they
boat
did it.
into the water. You can see his fucking face down. There's smoke coming out of the back of his head.
I was like, all right, he's got to be fucking dead now.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's not like fucking. They were kind of making him like Jason Voorhees because he was like fucking kept getting back up, but you know what I mean. But yeah, one of the best movie deaths I've ever seen. Just so hilarious because it's just so over the top and great. Somebody's asking us for porn advice. Do you see that?
What's the advice?
Screambleed Die Rot says, I'm thinking of getting into porn, but I have an average penis.
Okay.
6 inches.
Okay.
Well, that's
That's actually above average.
That's a little above average.
A little bit,
actually.
yeah.
I'm thinking of finding a petite scene partner who's shot so I look bigger. Will that work?
Yeah.
I think they probably do that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's just like casting for any other kind of scene. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they'll do size differential stuff, lesbian scenes between skinny girl and big old fat girl, you know. It could be anything.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
He said, also, I want to build a set and get furniture that's 25% smaller than average. Yeah. That might work too. I don't know. It might look weird. I'm not sure.
Don't worry about that. some of those like mega dick focus, like how big that dick is, what they'll do is look at this big old fucking black dude who's huge, like Mandingo or some shit like that, and then they'll get the smallest little white girl with the smallest little hands possible.
Yeah.
So it looks big.
Yeah.
Next to her,
So she's like, she can't even.
Yeah, she can barely put it. Yeah.
It's like putting it around like a big fucking can or something.
You're right. So it's all kind of like, in a way, movie magic. Yeah, that dude's huge, but he's not as big as you think.
Yeah, it's all tricks.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes, and especially with those big titty ones, they use a slave fisheye lens also to make them look bigger.
Make it a little bit more rounded.
Yeah. Like, not so much that you'd notice it.
Not all the times. They got girls now that, fucking are huge. They're not as common as they used to be back in the 80s. Back in those days in the 80s, they liked in the 90s. Real skinny porn stars with gigantic fake tits. They were skinny too, like Tiffany Towers, She was like that. But they're not into that now. Now it's just big butt, big boobs, short, skinny waist. That'll sell. That's very popular right now.
Yeah.
Which is a lot easier and healthier for a woman to achieve anyway. That real skinny look, that's not really healthy.
You got to kind of starve yourself.
Yeah.
Phantom says the remake of The Stepford Wives, which had Nicole Kidman, is surprisingly okay. I did not like it. I saw it in the theater, but I'd be willing to give it another shot. I just remember seeing it because I love the original from the 70s, and I love the novel by Ira Levin.
She's a good actress.
Oh, yeah. And I think she got better. She's good in this, but like I said, this was like her first big role.
Yeah.
And so she's still like slightly... not awkward, but like, you can tell she hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Actually, somebody said that she was actually 20, so she was younger than I thought. But in this movie. But she actually got like way, way better like later on. So yeah, but she was still kind of like learning the stuff. But she's good in this too. It's just I'm just saying she wasn't as good as she got. But yeah, so I don't know. I remember not liking the Stepford Wives remake, but I would be willing to give it another shot one of these days. Because I kind of felt like it wasn't really... I think they turned it into like a straight-up comedy, which the original, even the novel, is horror. I mean, it's a black comedy, but it's horrific. Like, and it's scary. But like, I felt like the remake was they just went straight comedy. That's what I remember, and I remember not liking that. But like I said, it's been... When did that come out? 2004? That's how long it's been since I've seen it, because I saw it in the theater when it came out. So Tammy said, I saw an interview with Christian Bale that said he based his character in American Psycho on Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He saw Tom on a talk show and said he acted overly friendly but was dead in the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what he saw. I know what he's talking about.
I'm a defender of Tom.
Yes, everyone knows.
Yeah, I got to go there. He's a great movie star. He got involved in that cult, and I understand why he did. I think they helped him in the short term, maybe. He said he overcame his dyslexia and stuff, which I don't know what that might be a code word for him not being able to read real well. I don't fucking know. But I think one of the things about Tom is that Tom is always on. He's never off. He's always acting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He always comes across as very fake.
He's always acting. And I think it's maybe because he's more comfortable with that as like a shield. He doesn't really want you to know what he's like. Maybe he's not 100% comfortable with his natural self. I don't know. That's just
that's the impression that I got.
Right. He might think that the audience may not approve of him.
Yeah.
Because he has very humble beginnings. He's not. He came from no money or anything. He didn't come from any money. And I don't think that dude could read. He says dyslexia, but I don't think he could read.
Yeah, maybe not.
Not to say he's dumb. He was very intelligent. Evidently, he would memorize the entire script. Not only his lines, but other people's lines. Now, if he couldn't read it, I don't know how. Somebody must have read it to him.
Yeah, I guess so.
And he could remember everything in the script. So, and he corrected the problem.
Yeah.
So, he's not dumb at all. He's very skilled. Fly aircraft and motorcycles. He's good with guns. I've watched him and looked at his form. He's trained. You know, he wouldn't be a pushover.
Well, illiterate doesn't equate to dumb.
No,
anyway.
I just think it's because he came from a rough background that was
it could just
deprived.
be because you just never learned.
Never went to school.
You never got
something like
taught.
that.
That's all.
Yeah, missed a certain window.
Yeah, it is harder to learn later. So I've heard, but but it's not impossible.
He says dyslexia, but I don't. That might be just a code. You know, code word.
Although it could just be
dyslexia.
I'm not really sure.
Could be.
CB says, you would think this film would have been shit because it's all at sea, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was kind of like, it kind of reminded me of Duel. You know, that was all just
on a highway.
On a highway. Like,
it's like I said, it's a similar kind of thing, and it's very lean and mean. It's not long. It's only like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really fuck around. And like I said, I think that a lot of the shot compositions, like especially of the distant shots of the two ships, with the little boat in between, like really gives you a sense of how alone they are out here. And you can kind of put yourself in that, well, I would never put myself in that situation willingly anyway, because I was like, the movie was over, like after they killed Billy Zane and everything like that. And I'm saying, if I was Nicole Kidman, I'd be saying to Sam Neill, let's never ever get on a boat and go in the ocean ever again. How about that? Because
I'm a firm believer in staying off the ocean.
Me too.
I've been out to it. It's out in the Gulf of Mexico. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't like it.
My dad used to take me out there all the time as a kid. I had enough. I had enough of that.
I mean, I grew up...
Get seasick.
I grew up in Daytona Beach, so I grew up right on the Atlantic. And it was just never anything. Like, I've been on some boats in my time and shit like that, and I'm just like, nah.
If anything goes wrong, you're fucked.
Well, that's what I mean. And I think that's what gives this movie, like, a little bit more of an edge, is because you can't call the cops.
Yeah.
You can't call for help. There's nobody. There's nothing. There's, like, nothing around. And so the great shots of these two ships, and then there's just, like, flat ocean, like, for as far as you can see. And you're just kind of like... You know, if your radio breaks, if you run out of fuel, if you just, like, you're pretty much hosed. Like, there's really nothing you can do.
Well, not being able to call for the cops, that doesn't bother me too much. Mississippi, response time is probably about an hour. When I was living in Detroit, response time was never. No cops. But the problem is that, at least if you're in Mississippi or Detroit, you got ground to stand on. You can walk. You can get food. You can find water to drink. The ocean is a desert. There's no water out there. If you fall overboard and fucking... Say you're on a solo fucking voyage, and you fall overboard, and the fucking boat keeps on going without you. You're fucked.
Yeah, there's
100% fucked.
Pretty much nothing
you can do. You're gonna die being baked alive by the sun, your head and your upper arms, and then you might last 7 days. And man, it'd be better if you just were to die quickly, just right away.
I think some people are just like fucking just drown themselves.
7 days of torture. Eventually, you'll die of thirst. There's nothing to drink. Fuck that.
Did you ever see the movie Open Water, which is based on a true story? It's based on a true story about a couple who got left behind on a scuba diving expedition.
Yeah.
And they got left behind in the middle of the fucking ocean. And they basically, they made a movie of it, like a fictional movie that's based on the real case. And basically they just like sat out there and just eventually got eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, it's that's what happened at the end. Sorry, they both got killed. But that movie, I think I saw it one time, and I was just kind of like, it was so fucking traumatic because I knew that it was based on a real case, and I'm just like, I'm just never going out in the ocean. Like I said, if I do a boat, I'll go out in a little fucking river boat or something where I can swim to the fucking shore. Where it's not okay. That's fine.
You can survive on land.
Yeah, but like out in the middle of the ocean, fuck that. It's remember, and we would watch that show like I Shouldn't Be Alive and stuff.
Yeah.
And an alarming amount of people are just kind of like, hey, let's take a boat and we'll sail around the world. Why the fuck would you want to do that?
Yeah, with minimal experience. Like, you fucking stupid.
No thanks.
And sometimes they had real good ships. Like,
no thanks.
And that with technology, but it didn't help them.
Yeah,
you have to be very experienced.
Yeah, and even if you are, something can always go wrong.
Yeah. I'm ex-infantry, man, airborne infantry, and I got mad respect for dudes of the sea. That is fucking... And the ultimate is submariners. Dudes in those submarines, especially the old school ones. Ugh. Especially the old school World War II submarines. World War I, man, fucking horrible. Horrible. You spent most of your time covered in piss and shit. Because when they were submerged, you couldn't flush any toilets. So they shat in these little cans. If they got into a storm, the fucking boats would roll on its axis, and dudes would just run in all the little shit cans and fucking bust open over time of the boat rolling, and it would get all over their food because the food was just hanging. It was like cured meat hanging down the middle of the aisle of the ship. And that shit would be covered with fucking shit human sausages. Waste, shit sausages, shit turkey, shit cheese. They had all that. Maybe they just fucking...
Adds flavor.
Yeah, and they couldn't surface... You know, they couldn't surface. They'd be running on battery power.
Well, they ate it one time. Now they're
they just fucking rinse it off a little bit with some fucking water out of a canteen. You know, rinse that shit off there and eat it.
Oh, so gross.
And it would just be all over their beds and shit, all over their bunks. Yeah, it was a real good book written by Germans from World War II called Iron Coffins. You need to read that one. It was about a fucking U-boat commander. He tells all kinds of horrible fucking stories, man. Of the shit that they did.
The thing about it is that, you know, I guess it's different during wartime or something like that, because sometimes, you know, everybody's kind of got to do shit they don't want to do. Yeah. But it's just like, I don't understand why you would willingly, for fun, like, go out on a yacht in the middle of the fucking ocean. Why the fuck would you want to do that? It just sounds horrifying. Yeah,
and like I said, and worse, submarine. Ooh, man. If I could read that book. There's one where the fucking rivet popped through in a certain part, and a fucking jet of water came through, and some guy who was new tried to use his hand to cover up that water, and it cut his fingers off and part of his hands because it's like a laser beam coming out of there.
I mean, come on now. I mean, I know that's probably your first instinct.
His first thing was to cover it up, and it knocked his
just
fucking
like the
hand
little Dutch boy
off.
putting your finger.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, and if you go deep enough, wouldn't it like fucking would it like implode?
Yeah. What was happening in that? If I remember correctly, they were being depth charged. Yeah. They were deep, but it was rated for that depth. But the depth charges were fucking beating the side of the boat.
Right.
And something got busted in, and a little fucking hole appeared and shot just a laser thin stream of fucking high pressure water. When he tried to cover it up, it cut through him just like a laser beam.
I mean, we are just not adapted to the ocean.
Fuck that.
I know we have all the cool shit and everything like that, but like I said, as cool as shit as you have, you could have all the equipment, you could have all the experience in the world, but one little thing goes wrong and you're fucked. You know what I mean? There's like literally nothing you can do. So I think it was like a really smart, like I said, this is based on a book which came out in the 60s, but which as far as I know is kind of similar. I think there's more characters. I think in the book, at least I haven't read it, but from what I heard, like I read like a short synopsis of it, that Sam Neill's character, whose name is John, by the way, when he goes to the other ship, the Orpheus, there's actually people still on it. You know what I mean? So it's the whole psychopath gets on your boat and takes off with your wife kind of thing too. But when he goes to the other ship, there's still people on it, which, like I said, makes it less scary to me, because it was much scarier that he gets on this ship and then there's all these dead, dismembered people, and then it doesn't work, and then he has to like fucking figure out how to get this fucking thing moving, and then it starts to sink. You know what I mean? Before he can like go after his wife in this other ship, and like he doesn't really have any choice in like what to do. The radio doesn't work and all this other kind of shit, so he's kind of like on his own. There's like nobody he can talk to, and I think it's good that the movie like it kind of just goes back and forth like between him and her, like what their situations are like parallel, and I think that was a good decision because it kind of keeps things from getting too samey, or keeps things from getting too boring, and it like kind of ups the tension a lot. So I think they did well there. Also, I think what I heard, because remember I said George Miller, of Mad Max fame, was a producer on this. I heard that he also directed some scenes. They said that he directed one scene which didn't make it into the final cut, where Sam Neill, I'm assuming after the ship sinks, that a shark is coming after him or something like that. But I guess they didn't put it in the movie because they thought, look, the dude has enough problems. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. The dude has enough problems. He doesn't need a shark after him as well. Because I was like, yeah, there's like no sharks in this movie. Because as soon as somebody goes in the water, I think of sharks. Oh, and remember how I said there's a little doggy in this? Super cute. It looks like a little Scottish Terrier, actually. I'm not sure what kind of dog it is. But his name's Ben. And the dog, I hate to say, gets killed with the harpoon gun. Yeah. Because, and actually Nicole Kidman kills him accidentally. Because she thinks that That's Billy Zane's dumbass is on the other side of the door. So she goes kathonk, like through the door. And then you hear, like the little, and I was like, no! And then like blood comes through a hole. And I was just like, fuck you, movie. God damn it, I was so bad. But yeah. So let's see what it is. Phantom says Ghost Ship is a pretty decent flick. Yeah, I actually kind of like Ghost Ship.
Which one was that?
Did we review that?
No, I think we did Death Ship.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Isn't Ghost Ship the one with that great opening scene where that cable comes and cuts everyone in half?
I don't remember that. I don't think I saw Ghost Ship.
I've seen it a couple of times. The rest of the movie isn't quite as good as that because that opening scene is like a showstopper.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of hard to live up to that, the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if we reviewed that or not. Phantom would remember.
Death Ship was really good. That was about a haunted Nazi intelligence ship. It looked like a cargo carrier, or a tanker, I think. I don't remember. I think it was a tanker. But it was actually kind of outfitted for like the SS, and they were doing something down there that they were they were torturing people and stuff and doing intelligence work. But
something like that.
Remember that? And that ship had been out there on the surface going around, and it was haunted. And some people got shipwrecked on that ship. Remember, their ship went down. They went on that one. They tried to survive on that thing. That was pretty good one. Death Ship.
I know. I'm pretty sure we reviewed that one, but I didn't know if we'd done Ghost Ship.
I think that was 70s or early 80s.
Yeah, Ghost Ship was, I want to say 90s, but I could be way wrong about that. I thought it was 90s, or it might be early 2000s. I've seen it a couple times, but like I said, that opening scene is like the one everyone remembers, and I don't remember much about the rest of the movie. I remember it being okay, but I was like, man, if you open with a scene that fucking awesome, like the rest of the movie isn't going to live up to it.
What year are we talking about?
I told you I
70s,
think
80s?
No. I thought it was 90s or early 2000s.
Okay, then I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Wait a minute. 2000 says CB.
Okay.
2000.
Maybe I've seen it. I don't know.
Wasn't Gabriel Byrne in that? Do I want to say Gabriel Byrne was in it? Or am I totally talking out my ass? Am I thinking of something else? Yeah, Tammy said, remember those, 2002, Zach said it was 2002. Remember those billionaires that went down and their little vessel imploded? Yeah, I remember that. They went down in that little submarine.
Yeah. It's funny, they were memeing that thing as a Bud Light can.
Yeah.
Fucking funny, yeah.
Man, I guess you wouldn't know what hit you, but...
Still. No, it was instant. It's like an explosion.
So...
Just an implosion. You'd be killed instantly.
It's just creepier to think about.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't even know that it happened. You'd probably hear something creak.
Hey, what was that?
Yeah, that would be it.
And then...
Lights out.
Phantom says, I feel like you did review Ghost Ship, but I'm not seeing it. Yeah, see, I know that I watched it not that long ago, but I don't remember if we reviewed it or not.
Death Ship should be on there.
Yeah, I'm sure we did. I know we reviewed Death Ship. But I remember, maybe I watched it and then we ended up watching something else and reviewing that. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Let's see. All I remember is that movie has a poor man's Angelina Jolie in it, and I can't remember her name. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of her name.
The poor man's Angelina Jolie is probably hotter than Angelina Jolie. A lot of times they do that. Go look at a Troma. Not Troma. What's that fucking what's the one?
Hey, Asylum?
Asylum that does all the fucking copies of everything.
Rip-offs.
The rip-offs and shit. They got some of the best looking girls in there. Best looking crews, the casts. And I think it's just because they don't put people like that in movies anymore. They want kind of average looking people, I guess, you know. But you go on there, man, and fucking everybody looks like top-notch porn stars, male or female. You know, that's what they look like. They can act. It's just that they're not getting cast.
Sort of.
Yeah, it depends on who it is.
Some of those Asylum movies are pretty fucking funny because it's just like they're so shameless.
Yeah, Nazis at the Center of the Earth is a fucking masterpiece.
Now, see, that one is like not really even a ripoff of anything.
That's a great original title.
That was just kind of an original one.
I think they were fucking ripping off Iron Skies, that was called,
maybe.
They were ripping off another movie, but they just
Well, it kind of took pieces from other movies. A lot of their stuff is just like straight up, like ripping off a very obvious... You know, like Pacific Rim. Hey, we're going to make Atlantic Rim.
Atlantic Rim.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, shit like that.
And it's like exactly the same except several. Yeah. It's much, much cheaper.
Well, Nazis at the Center of the Earth is like authentic. It's authentic.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was a lot of fun.
It had fucking Gary Busey's in it.
Yeah.
Gary Busey's in it. And he does a good job.
We'll watch anything with him in it because that dude's a crazy person.
Yeah. And it's the storyline is based upon real kind of like Nazi science fiction and lore. It was based on the science fiction that Germans liked from the 30s, like, you know, Vril, the coming race, and all that, you know, about the hollow Earth. And that's what it's about. So everything in it. And then the Vril saucers and shit. Fucking Nazi flying saucers. Nazi zombies. Everything that you could ever think of about any kind of Nazi lore, which is all bullshit, most of it, is in that movie. And they've put it together, including an undead Mecha Hitler.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah. An undead Joseph Goebbels. Yeah. And they're like using technology to keep them alive. In a state, they were like zombies, but they were also using technology to keep them alive. Remember, wasn't one of them? Wasn't Goebbels? Wasn't his head inside a vat on his fucking shoulder or something?
No, I thought that was Mecha Hitler.
Mecha Hitler was doing it. Yeah, just his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking funny.
But yeah, so somebody showed up, Richard Yu, saying, "Ooh, suspenseful. Came out when I was 11, going on 12." I'm assuming he's talking about this movie, Dead Calm. How old was I when this movie came out? 17, 18, 17. And this came out because this came out the year before I graduated high school. I said I don't think I saw this in the theater, although maybe I did. This would have probably been something I would have gone to see in the theater in 1989. But I think that I saw this on cable in the 90s, like a year or two later. Because I remember it was on all the time, because I know I saw it more than once. But I hadn't seen it since then. So I thought it was like really cool that Shudder added it, because I was like, ooh, that's kind of one that... Shudder's been adding some kind of like sideways stuff that like I saw back in the day, but you don't really hear anybody talking about anymore. Like they added Dead Calm, and they added like Mute Witness, like from the 90s. Like I reviewed that on my Flickers of Fear series, which I saw back in the 90s, and I was like, man, nobody talks about this movie anymore. I remember really liking it. And this is kind of another one along those lines where you don't really hear anybody talking about it, even though it's got like a huge stacked cast, like and of still famous people. But yeah, you don't really hear anybody talking about it anymore. It just seems like one of those movies that sort of fell between the cracks. So I think it's kind of cool that like Shudder's adding those, like sprinkling them in there. Another thing that Shudder just added that I'm super jacked about is they added like all those British ghost stories for Christmas, like that are usually like adaptations of like old like classic Christmas ghost stories. Like they're not necessarily Christmas ones, but just ghost stories in general, like Whistle and I'll Come to You My Lad, and like really famous stories like that. And so I'm kind of wanting to dive into those. There's a bunch of them on there, so I don't know how long it's gonna take me to watch them all, but I don't know, I'll get around to it. But yeah, let's see. CB says Hell Asylum 2000 is a crap but good horror film. And yeah, Phantom says 89 was a superb year for thrillers. I feel like there was a lot of good thrillers that came out in the late 80s and early 90s that were good. And let's see. Yeah, Gary Busey in Under Siege. Yeah, he's like the best part of that fucking movie. Gary Busey is crazy. Billy Zane in this movie is crazy, but not as crazy as Gary Busey.
Yeah, Busey, he's not acting. That's him. Gary Busey as himself.
He just shows up and is himself.
Yeah, if you want to see him, I think, actually acting, that was in that first movie where he played that bad guy that was hiding in that house.
Yeah, Hider in the House.
Hider in the House.
Which we reviewed a while back.
He does a really good job in that.
Yeah, and he acts like for Gary Busey, he's like pretty normal.
Yeah, he's playing a psycho though.
He's still a psycho,
but he's
a subdued psycho.
Yeah, yeah. He comes off as a very realistic character.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they hire Busey on there to act a fool, basically.
To Busey out.
Just Busey the fuck out. It's like caging out with Nicolas Cage. They're gonna have to fucking have a scene in there where he cages the fuck out. That's like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about, I'll be back and get to the chopper. That's gonna be like that. It's gonna have that in there.
All right, so are we ready to wrap it up this evening?
Jake Busey, that's what I was thinking. His son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake Busey was in Nazis at the Center of the Earth.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Not Gary. Jake.
Yeah, that was Jake Busey.
Yeah, Jake was also in
The Frighteners.
Frighteners, yeah. And I like Jake. Jake's fucking really good. Whenever they show him, he was great in fucking Starship Troopers and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
He's good. He's good. Just and he could kind of, I think he had a little more range than his dad. Yeah. But he could do his dad too. He could do that. He could act like a fucking nut. He could do it. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen him. I got to look up and see if he's making movies still. Got to be, huh?
I don't know. I would imagine.
He's probably close to 60 now, huh?
He's got to be.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is, but
yeah. It's time for him to make a comeback.
If indeed he went anywhere.
I want to see him in a picture with Nicolas Cage. And I think Gary's dead, isn't he? I think he died.
Wait, did he?
I don't know.
Gary Busey didn't die?
Imagine if he did. I don't know. I thought maybe he did.
I don't think
maybe
so.
not. That'd be nice to see them all in the same movie. That'd be fucking hilarious.
That would be the craziest fucking movie ever made.
Yeah.
How could it not be?
And you'd have to write it for those guys.
Don't even write it. Just let all three of them show up and just do whatever they want.
And it's going to be a horror movie. It could be a horror movie.
Well, yeah, it's got to be a horror
movie.
Yeah. They're just like, just do your thing.
Yeah.
We're just going to stand back and film.
Well, you got to come up with a concept. Now, see, now we're brainstorming. Okay, they should have done.
All right. So we are going to wrap it up this evening. Like I said, if you want to see Dead Calm from 1989, it is on Shudder. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere too, but that's where I saw it. So be sure to come by on Wednesday night, because we're going to be doing the show about the Cannibal Island, or Nazino Island in the Soviet Union. Happened back in the 1930s. So, that was one of y'all, recommended that a long time ago, so that finally won in the polls. So that's what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday night's show. So that should be nice and gory for everybody. So, thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us this evening. And we will see you guys again on Monday. Nope, it is Monday. On Wednesday night. Duh, I don't even know what fucking day it is. All right, see you guys later.